Previously, at an event, Duke Almondite and Commander Tristan, disregarding the attention of the other ladies present, clashed between them to determine who would ride the horse with Princess Lewellyn. In response, the annoyed princess drew her card, making both of them to join her. However, she tricked them in the end by claiming that she could ride the horse alone without any help from men. Now from here, moving Circle forward, she marvels at how comfortable she feels as if she rode Circle just yesterday. A smile graces her face, confirming that if it is with Circle, she can conquer any event. With determination in her mind, she accelerates Circle toward the obstacle, making others take notice of her prowess. Observing her actions, the commander fretfully reflects that it is dangerous for her to ride a horse after such a long time. Eventually, the Duke interrupts the commander, stating that the princess is a reckless individual who can do as she pleases. Furthermore, he inquires of the commander whether he was appointed after the Duke left the capital 5 years ago. Confirming his assumption, he adds that everyone except the commander remembers the princess's actions. That in the equestrian field, she always grabbed the main spotlight to whom no one can beat. Her horse riding skills after so many years in action amazed every single person present there, particularly King Bastian and Queen Pamela. In this process, she showcases another ability by taking a high leap above an obstacle and landing perfectly on the ground, which visibly shocked the audience, who whisper among themselves that she is just like herself from 5 years ago, and if she had not been abandoned by her father, she would be seated at the highest position right now. The Duke, at noticing her forgotten glory, reflects that she has not smiled like this at all since then. However, by putting a conspiratorial smirk on his face, he hints that perhaps this is his best attempt. But wait, what attempt is he talking about? Yet, Queen Pamela steals the attention of her surroundings by swiftly breaking a glass on the floor. Unable to control her composure, she trembles visibly. Furiously, she shouts loudly at the princess, calling her Lewellyn. Dear viewers, apologies for the interruption. If you haven't seen the previous segment, it might cause confusion. Therefore, check out the playlist pinned at the top right at your screen for knowing the full story. And if you enjoy the content, please help us reach 1,000 subscribers by smashing the subscribe icon and enabling all notifications bell for quick info to all our future content. Now, let's dive back in the story, reflecting on how she dares to steal the main spotlight of the horse riding event which Queen Pamela wants to give to Count Empora to make her an ally. This way, she aims to increase her power before Duke Brian comes back. She directs her gaze at the princess, who is in the process of making her presence known among the royal audience. Indeed, her performance collects compliments from the attendants about her horse riding skills with the big horse, which annoys the queen even more. Still, her eyes catch the attention of King Bastian, whose face glows bright at witnessing the princess's amazing skills. This adds a pinch of salt to the queen's pain. Seeing her own son react this way because of the princess, she trembles in fear at the thought that she needs to do something quickly. However, she cannot resort to killing the princess, as it would place blame on herself because the princess is the only royal member of the Brigent left. Moreover, the Duke will protect her. She pauses her thoughts for a moment, glancing upon the Duke from the raised platform. An idea nags at her mind about why she cannot kill him instead of the princess. However, this notion proves futile, as killing him would leave no one to fight against Duke Brian. She reminds herself to carry out the plans carefully, acknowledging that the big 5 noble families working for the capital will come into action if one of their head houses is removed. However, as she envisions the princess's face, she questions whether she should attack her if she cannot kill her. With a devilish grin on her face, she mutters to herself that it is right to punish those who still do not know their place. Suddenly, King Bastian intervenes in her plans by sternly warning her not to harm the princess with her malicious intent. And when she shouts at him in response, he dismisses her, expressing that he has desired to remember the princess's old self a little more, which she has not shown for years, and will go even against his mother to protect her. In response, the queen rebukes the king, questioning how he can care more for others than his own mother. Annoyed, she turns her head away and with a sense of urgency reminds herself to do something about the princess that could cost her anything in terms of maintaining her power in the kingdom. The scene shifts to the interior of an unknown palace where the Duke walks in a particular direction. Upon arriving in a room, he meets a person to whom he addresses as the Marquis, stating that it is a rare time for him to request the Duke to meet in person. With courtesy, the Marquis requests the Duke to have a seat. Maintaining his silence, the Duke contemplates that Lord Cuthering is the head of the Cuthering house, one of the 5 big noble families. Plus, this person has rumors to have never made bad decisions in his lifetime rule. Plus, people describe him as a brilliant and wise man. Observing the Duke lost in thought, the Lord asks if it is true about what he heard from the internal sources that the Duke's plan to kill Queen Pamela and King Bastian to transfer power to the princess. Taking note of the words, the Duke finds it outrageous for a prudent Marquis to utter such things. The Lord further adds by alerting him that the Queen is not a foolish person and will likely notice of the Duke's motives. In response, the Duke asserts that it doesn't matter as his primary goal is to get rid of Duke Brian. To this, the Lord advises him to keep a low profile and by playing the role of an old man emphasizes that the Duke needs for caution with his plans. Moreover, with a loud statement he questions whether the princess is truly worth all these risks considering she is now tagged as abandoned. The Duke comments that indeed she is abandoned in the eyes of the Lord but not in his. With a smirk, the Lord points out that the Duke may not be aware of how much the princess isolates herself from everyone, which is called a survival strategy to show herself harmless for others. Further, he mentions that dealing with Queen Pamela is one thing, but when Duke Brian returns after suppressing the rebellion, the Duke should not expect Duke Brian to leave the princess unharmed. Observing the Duke's facial expression, the Lord prompts him to reveal how he plans to transfer power to the princess, who seemingly has no intention for it, adding that if the Duke genuinely wants to make the princess the Queen of the Brigen, at which the Duke inquires if the Lord will assist him in his plan or not. From here the scene transitions to the next evening, where the princess walks alone in the glass house immersed in her deep thoughts. She wonders why she has not received Ernell's letter by now and doubts if he forgot about the promise he made to her to eliminate the stigma. These thoughts annoy her, prompting to take a deep breath. However, by approaching the gardening water can, she acknowledges that today's horse riding has alleviated her daily boredom to some extent, emphasizing that her body has not heated up till now due to her curse. Plus, riding the horse made her feel like she went back to the old days. Yet, she realizes the risk of drawing attention with her every little move, which can be dangerous for her own self. Eventually, a sound from outside captures her notice, and upon opening the door, she is visibly shocked to witness the presence of King Bastian, accompanied by a male horse with piercing black skin. Upon the princess's inquiry about what brings him here, the king responds by complimenting her on riding circle nicely yesterday. So, as a gift he brought a male horse for her, making the princess confused. However, he adds that he instructed people to clean up the stable where she used to ride horses, allowing her to ride there anytime from now on. These words visibly animate the princess, who blushingly expresses her gratitude, calling him "Thank you, your majesty." Still, he humbly asks for forgiveness, stating that it is the only thing he can do for her. In response, she expresses that she is honored to receive such a valuable gift from him. She then pats the horse's face, making him happy with her touch. The king also animates at noticing how quickly she became friendly with the horse in a short time. He continues to reminisce about their old days, reminding her of when he was 12 years old and new to the capital. He had always been curious to meet her but couldn't bring himself to do it. Somehow, one day he managed to come to the glass house, which was built for the princess's own happiness. However, his joy turned to gloom when he didn't find her there. Despite that, he made himself talk with her that day by any means necessary. To do so, he arrived at the horse stable, and by peeking inside he discovered the princess riding the horse like a professional. This sight made his heart move with admiration. During that time, the king compared himself with her, reflecting on how she could ride the horse so swiftly, unlike him, who kept falling off the horse, despite both having the same royal blood. He questioned himself, wondering if he was so foolish because he was an illegitimate child and the stepbrother of her. Startled by her sudden appearance, she asked him about what he was doing there. The king, covered in sweat, shakingly responded that he came to see her, which even leaves the horse perplexed with his words. His voice further became stuttered, making him unable to speak ahead. In response, the princess asks him if he wants to ride the horse too, and by approaching him closely, she states that if he thinks that he will fall, he will never learn horse riding in the future. Assuring him, she suggests him grabbing her hand and getting on the horse because she will make sure he does not fall. Reflecting on this, the king thinks about how she didn't scold him severely like his mother or be harsh like his teachers. Instead, she held out her hand to him, despite knowing his current position in the kingdom. Listening to his vivid description of the past memory, which she cannot recall at all, makes her mind blow. Upon the king's inquiry about whether she remembers it, she shakes her head, indicating that the memory is still shattered to her. She responds by saying that she is really sorry and explains that she truly cannot recall her childhood memories anymore, which visibly upsets the king deeply. Noting the gloomy expression on his face, the princess contemplates with a smile that this feels like they are normal siblings. However, she quickly diverts the situation by addressing him as brother and adds that she is genuinely thankful to him for his gift. The word brother noticeably flinches the king, who lowers his gaze, and after a moment of his silence, he acts to smile naturally in front of her with pain in his heart, saying there is no problem. The scene unfolds at night time, where the princess is sitting beside the window in her bedroom. She is in a dilemma about what she can get for King Bastian to return his courtesy of the horse's gift. Annoyed by the reality that finding a gift in this kingdom is really difficult, she recalls that his brother enjoys drinking tea. so it would be good to give him the special black tea pouch she received as a gift before. Determined to select it as a present, she gets off the platform to search for it in the storage. Completely alone in the corridor, which is covered in pitch black, making even the owls blind, she steps towards the storage room. Maintaining her composure, she ponders how this usually populated place of the palace is totally empty with no one around. Even most of the lights are off tonight. As she steps further, she realizes that the hallway she always walks on can be so spooky at night. She confirms that she will take the classes of the servants the next morning for not checking all the lights of her own residence. Suddenly, her steps come to a halt because she senses the presence of other footsteps close around her. Turning abruptly to check what is going on, she fearfully assures herself that she is being too sensitive but nothing else. Yet, this confirmation of her proves wrong because although she cannot hear the footsteps sound anymore, she can see the shadow of someone else standing quietly behind her. Moreover, before she can do anything, this tall person completely covered in black grabs her tightly from behind, putting his hand upon her lips, making her unable to shout to guards for her help. As we wrap up today's segment, thank you for being with us until the very end. I'll be sharing fresh videos of this manga and exciting new series every weekend. Your support is invaluable, so please subscribe and hit the notification bell to stay updated. Your encouragement keeps the channel thriving, and I appreciate it immensely. Until next time, take care and goodbye.